Hey everyone, happy warm Wednesday. So I went to the Greater Manchester Chamber GM Business Index June edition launch this morning, looking at what's going on across the local economy. One of the standout themes is that business confidence in the creative, digital and media sectors is actually pretty high. That's interesting given everything else that's going on. And to give you a bit of context, the GM Business Index looks at things like confidence, demand, costs and investment. That obviously matters just as much to you guys and to the agency groups operating here in Manchester as much as it does any business. But the consistent word that's came through, in the data itself from the floor is unsurprisingly uncertainty. We've got the situation in Iran, the wider world having an impact, but one of the key points made was that underlying UK factors are amplifying that shock. So it's not just global events, it's how they land here in terms of tax policy, inflation, wider confidence, and from a business point of view, that's coming through as cost pressure and demand uncertainty. Cash flow is always a concern, tax burdens there. Clients obviously are taking longer to make decisions in some cases, or there's lots of pitches out, but what's interesting is how businesses are responding. As you'd expect, there's strong investment in innovation, AI, wider digital adoption, but recruitment is slowing, particularly across the services sector, which they form part of, and a lot of that investment comes with its own challenges. There's clearly an opportunity. We in Manchester are positioned as one of the UK's most AI-ready cities, but that investment obviously doesn't pay off overnight. It takes time to bed in, and it depends on having the right kind of policies, literacy across the business to deliver that value. That creates a bit of tension because clients want more, they want to use it, productivity needs to go up, but there's not always the capability to catch up with that straight away. So there's growth, but it's deliberate and it's more long-term. The flip side of that, of course, is that retention becomes more important because if hiring slows, keeping and building the skills of the right people is the priority, and with the ongoing skills gap in the sector, there's going to be obviously more focus on training and building capability internally. But despite all that, one of the more positive points that came out is that Greater Manchester is still outperforming the rest of the UK and attracting businesses here. That's backed up by a great national, international reputation that continues to draw on investment and opportunities. And that's why there's an emphasis on maintaining that momentum, especially when Andy Burnham has gone to Westminster, and that's around business support, access to growth funding. And there is a sense that the creative sector is being supported at a policy level. I've posted before about that, around the creative sector development plan. That aligns with national strategy, so there's longer term optimism sitting behind short term uncertainty. And what's interesting is, I think, if you work in the creative sector, none of this feels new. If you read any industry magazine or website, the sector's been telling the story for ages. But what this data, I think, does is put a bit of structure around that. It shows how consistent it is across the wider economy. And there's obviously going to be a focus on getting the basics right, making sure relationships work, everything's documented properly, income's protected through processes, agreements, so on and so forth. So not the most exciting part, but probably one of the most important right now. It's the kind of thing we spend a lot of time working through with our clients, and we have done for years as a team. So what the headline today, I think, is that there is more confidence than you think, but there's cost pressure, demand uncertainty. The reality of delivering growth is shaping how it's being used, and the businesses that get that are obviously going to be the ones that get the most out of it. More than anything else, thanks to the Chamber for a really good event this morning. Great insights. And a great reminder of how strong Manchester's creative sector is, great Manchester's creative sector is, but also thank you to the Manchester College for having us there, such a great venue, and the great work they do as well. So now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go find an ice cream. I'm going to take this blazer off. Cheers.